Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Cao Yang, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once you have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, today's video will twist our topic to migration skill assessment, whereby I wanted to address an issue, the most commonly known error that will actually get you a negative result. And obviously there has been a lot of people looking towards to actually migrate through skill migration. Now the first thing, the key element to skill migration is obviously skill assessments. You need to get your skill assessed in order to meet the standards that the Australian government has actually standardized, the so-called ANSCO dictionary, where they put every single occupation in codings and its descriptions. And you have to meet that descriptions, otherwise you will not even be able to actually lodge an EOI for skill migration. So migration skill assessment is essential, it's mandatory, and it's compulsory. Now of course that's the first one, and that's the, well, similarly the easiest, but that's where the most people get things wrong. Now without having a skill assessment positive result, you will not be able to lodge or submit any expression of interest in order to get your skill assessment. Now numbers of the passport countries is required mandatory for employment sponsored visa as well. So it's very vital that the you need to pass. For example, if you claim that you're a chef, now you need to go through a skill assessment to prove that you have the skill and qualification experiences that meet the Australian standards. Now if you are project manager, or if you are a marketing specialist or human resource manager, that you need to claim the qualification, work experiences, and all the detail in order to meet the requirements. Now the other key thing for skill assessment is that it also indicates numbers of years that you have deemed to be skilled with work experiences. Now the key differences here is that they will measure how many years that you actually counted towards the experiences. Now you may think you have 10 years of work experiences, but a lot of people, after they get assessed, they came out, the result came out to be 5 or even less than that, and you just don't understand why it actually worked that way. So in this video I would like to address those commonly issues that people actually met those problem with, and they thought they may have that much of high points in order in meeting of the point test system. They thought they should be able to get the sponsorship because they have certain degrees of work experiences in order to actually meet the requirement for visa, but afterwards they lost the visa, everything failed because skill assessment did not pass. So anyway, I would like to take you to, obviously in my channel we have done a lot of skill assessment videos. You may want to check them out with different occupations, but the general criteria or requirement is about the same. So again, let me take you into VetAssess, which is the largest skill assessing authority in Australia. Now it does a lot of occupations, in very general occupations, but if it's going to be a very specific occupation, for example ICT, you need to go to Australian Computer Society, which is the worst authority because they deduct a lot of things out. If you're an engineer, you go to Engineer Australia. If you are other health related professionals, profession, there are so many specific authority to actually assess your medical or health profession skills. So you may want to follow or search on my channel. You may have a lot of explanation there. Now, the reason I take you to this page, because it's quite clear. It basically addresses the issue. It says, am I eligible to apply my professional occupation? Now, obviously, you may think you are, but probably you are not. Now, the most commonly error that people make is that they thought, now obviously they graduate with the degree, but, you know, a lot of people is like this, but they moving into a career pathway which might not be totally the same as what you have graduated with. For example, you graduate as ICT profession, but then you move into for example, event management companies. They help a lot of, for example, they probably help a lot of ICT companies to actually help events. But your role in this company is more like, for example, the start of it will be a project management assistant, and you move on to become event manager. Now, you probably have worked as a role of event manager for example, 3 or 4 years, okay? Now, what is your occupation then? You graduate as an ICT profession and you go into an event management company. You start with the event management assistants and you slowly moving into now with 3 or 4 years as event manager, managing all the ICT company for their whichever the event going to exhibitions, for example, like that. So, what is your occupation then? Are you still an ICT profession or are you an event manager? And that is the key issue. And how do you select that? And that is where we have led you into this page and asking yourself, am I eligible? Are you eligible as an ICT profession or are you eligible as an event manager? Probably both were gonna be not. And the another scenario given to you is a lot of people working in the engineering firm, especially in the ICT or electronic or electrical engineer companies. They may provide you an occupation name or your job title very different to the ENSCO dictionary, right? A lot of people had that issue there as well. They may call you staff manager, they may call you engineering level 2 or grade 3 engineer. Now, what on earth is that? Now, because ENSCO won't have that kind of namings in the ENSCO dictionary. So you really need to dig out the actual description of those jobs, and luckily you know in VetAssess you can actually check out those one, and they will provide you detail of what that job, and you really need to match up of that whatever the name that your job title is, and that relates to the ENSCO occupation there. Now, just take you a little bit down here and going through on the employment evidence, because this is where a lot of people actually get negative result with. Now, qualification evidence, I won't go through too much detail, because if your occupation, you graduate as an engineer but you work as a hospitality manager, obviously that won't match anyway. That's pretty straightforward. But employment evidence is where a lot of people got it with error and negative result. Now, first of all, there is a statement of service template. Now, this is very important because, and it's probably one of the hardest, because sometimes you follow the template as what VetAssess or Australian authority wants. It's probably not your employer will actually issue to you, correct? And that is a lot of problem. And you ask them, you ask your HR manager or whoever your boss is, they will go, nah, this is the only way I wanted to supply to you. I'm not gonna follow this. Especially those companies are a global or international company and their headquarters is not in Australia. So why on earth should they follow Australian standards, right? That's the main issue there. Now, if you have that issue there, you may also want to try to have a so-called statutory declaration or affidavits that you can actually declare by yourself in way to reflect to the statement of service that your employer might not provide sufficiently to actually meet the standards here. And also the payment and self-employment here is sometimes in countries they pay by cash and things like that, although the number is decreasing, but then you really need to find more evidence or payments and tax evidence that you have been remunerated through what your profession is. And organizational chart sometimes will also make the assessing authority to understand which level of the occupation that you're actually in. So that's basically, now I'm not gonna go into detail too much here, but this is where most of people actually step upon the rock, and then they fell off with the employment evidences there. So I would like to take this opportunity to actually address this issue. So if you are ready to actually file a skill assessment, have a detailed read about these sections in regards to employment, because that's usually where you either lose a lot of work experiences they've been counted towards your skill assessments, or they probably don't even recognize. They will say it's insufficient for them to actually provide the work experiences towards the occupation that you claim with. Anyway, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.